Welcome everybody to the NRC Black Table Talk podcast. Today is Monday, March 18th, and it's a happy Monday, everybody. So I hope everybody's doing good. Glad you tuned in. And we got a very special guest with us today. He's not only just a guest, but he's also a friend. Not only a friend, but a brother. And he has a lot to share with us today. But before we go into all that, my name is Travis Register, your host, and my co-host is
Foster Sellers.
And our special guest, would you mind saying your name?
Chris Turner-Bey.
Turner-Bey, as I know you. How you doing, bro?
I'm beautiful, man. On this Monday, man. Powerful Monday.
Definitely. It's been a while since I've seen you, but you're looking good.
Thank you. You looking great yourself.
Yeah, appreciate it, bro. We as lights, we shine on each other.
Absolutely.
So let's jump off into this thing, because you got a lot to share, man. I've been seeing you all over Instagram. I've been seeing you, through the old school word. I've been hearing about you through the grapevine, things like that, man. So it's been all good stuff. So who is Turner-Bey and what does he do right now?
Wow, that's a mean question. Well, I'm just your brother, man. I'm just a brother who tries to be a brother to another brother, or a brother to a sister, or to that person that has a positive outlook on life. We believe that steel shopping steel and men shopping men. In this case, men or women, because it's about growth and development, real growth and development that you can measure over a period of time. And that everything is authentic when we meet up. Like, we know when we go in a room and we get a bad vibe, that's our DNA communicating to us. The same way the plants communicate with each other, the trees, universal law, that's what it is. And you go in a room and this person here or that person is authentic based off of the vibe they get, the connection you get. They call it today your vibe, and they got a bunch of other different little slick sayings for it. But right. At the end of the day, it's our DNA. It's our realness. It's our makeup. What's in us.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point, because sometimes we feel that we have to tear each other down in order to have the light shine on us, so to speak, or to take the center stage. But like you said, it's about building each other up. Calling ourselves kings and queens, which we are, and do unto others as you want them to do unto you. How has that kind of philosophy impacted you to where you're at today?
Well, the thing about me, as far back as brothers can remember, I've always been a positive brother. I always try to find the good in people. People will say bad things about people, but I'm my own judge. Mm-hmm. I don't let you tell me about Travis. I'm not going to let you tell me about Foster. Mm-hmm. I'm going to develop a relationship. The relationship you have with Travis or you have with Foster might have stemmed from something else, personal, on a whole different page. So I try to build my relationships. I do build all my relationships off of our own connection, which you and I have in common.
That's right. And that's a very mature way of looking at things, too, because how many times in the past have we based, and when we were younger, we based our relationship on whether or not we're going to deal with this individual in depth on the surface or not at all, based off what another individual said about him.
And that's the thing, man. That's the immature way of doing it. But when wisdom takes over your life, man, you use your own judgment. You don't have to tell us, just like the scriptures. Man, tell me what God said and let me use my own understanding of what it means. Mm-hmm. Don't tell me that it means this, because when you constantly, somebody is telling you that this means this and that meant this, they're training you what to think. Don't train us what to think. Teach us how to think, and we can think for ourselves.
Yeah, that's a really good point. When it comes to returning citizens and the culture that we look at today, we're always talking about how we're trying to change the language.
True.
You know what I mean? And the stereotypes and the images of a returning citizen is, like you said, it needs to be reshaped and rethink to the perspective of saying, I'll develop a relationship with this person and figure out who they are for myself.
Absolutely. Let me tell you something. The biggest mistake that we make as returning citizens is we come out here with all this bad information given to us by somebody else who couldn't walk that walk and talk that talk. What you have to do is everybody got their own plight. Everybody's walk is going to be different from someone else. As much as Kobe tried to imitate Mike, he couldn't be Mike all the way. He had to realize along the line in his career, and it's a great career, it's a super career, that he had to become his own legacy. That's what we got to do. We got to take and walk our own walk and find out for ourselves by ourselves what it's like to work with Travis, what it's like to work with Foster, what it's like to work with Turner-Bey.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna go back, because we go back. So I'm gonna take it back and let the listeners know a little bit about yourself from the past, as far as being a returning citizen. Because you did say that you were a returning citizen. You included yourself in how you said it. So, you was in prison how long ago?
13 years ago. I did 26 years in maximum security prisons all over the country. I was transferred on 18 different occasions, mostly because I wouldn't shut up, because I was already podcasting before podcasting came out,
Right.
And when you always try to do the right thing, that's the thing that the administration is against, because they need mass incarceration to go on. Why? Because mass incarceration is job security for them.
Mm.
But my goal was always try to put y'all out of job. I used to always tell you, man, I'm going to make y'all start laying off guards, man. I'm going to start making y'all having to lay guards off.
Yeah, so, I believe you started in Lawton, right?
Yeah, I really originally started the D.C. jail. I went to Lawton. I went to the feds in 1985. And I went to Petersburg. I went to Ashland, Kentucky. Man, I went to Talladega, Alabama, went to Marietta, Florida. Then I went to Lewisburg maximum security prison. Then I went back to the D.C. jail. Then I went back to Lewisburg. Then I went to Allenwood, USP. And then from Allenwood, USP, they sent me back to Lewisburg, USP. Lewisburg said, nah, he can't come back here. They sent me to Long Park, USP. Long Park sent me back to Lewisburg 2 years later. And then Lewisburg sent me to Leavenworth. And Leavenworth sent me to Indiana, USP, and then I went to Arizona, and then from Arizona I went to Victorville, and from Victorville I went to Atwater.
Speaking of water, after that travel, you just told me I need a glass of water.
Right, me too.
I done got fatigue and everything, but I didn't know you went through all that, bro. I mean, that's like, good God.
It's called diesel therapy, man.
Definitely diesel therapy.
What's diesel therapy?
Diesel therapy is when they give you a bus ride. Every time something comes up, you on that bus. Whenever anything go on in the prisons or something, and they devise a list, you're on that list. Whenever they need a bus or a load of people to get out for whatever reason, they want to build up the population at another institution, they want to just flip the institution over, your name is on that list. And so you get what's called diesel therapy. It's a diesel bus. So you're going to be traveling all over the country, and that's what I did.
So they were doing that to pretty much trying to shut you up because most of the stuff you was filing, it was heavy?
Not only the motions, I went to prison for a crime I didn't commit in 1984. I was the first time ever in the history of America, 17 people were charged for the murder of one person here in Washington, D.C. It's considered the most publicized murder in the history of Washington, D.C., the most heinous murder in the history of Washington, D.C., and I was wrongfully convicted of this crime. And so I became an advocate and began to push the positive justice light after reaching rock bottom. I graduated from high school when I was 17. I was going in the Air Force. I did all these things in my community already. So one day they charged me with killing somebody from my own community. Say I woke up one day and I just decided to kill a friend of mine's mother. Mrs. Fuller's son, David, And William, these was friends of mine. These was like my little brothers. You know, I used to manage a little go-go band. We wasn't no good, so y'all never heard of it. Ain't no sense in me telling you the name of it because we was some trash. We wasn't junk, y'all. We was worse than junk. You know, we was real trash. But eventually, you know, we was still trying to do some things. I used to work at the Northeast Neighborhood House, which was a tutorial after school program, which is what we're missing today from our society, where students could go and not only just go there to play and rec, but you go there to work on your math skills, your typing skills, your English skills. Somebody there was a specialist, and I was like the math specialist there for the program.
So if you don't mind me asking, how old was you when you was incarcerated?
I spent all my 20s, all of my 30s, and most of my 40s incarcerated.
And that's where we get 26 years at.
And 26 years, you know, the crime occurred when I was 18 years old. I got locked up at 19. That's the myth. That's the thing that nobody understands about the case. They didn't lock us up when it happened. They waited months later and just started locking up everybody in our neighborhood. Even people who didn't know each other was locked up, and you became co-defendants. And it just didn't stop there because the case was so heinous. We were the most hated prisoners in the history of Washington, D.C. It was so bad that police used to allow people to spit in our food, used to do all kinds of stuff to our food. So they say, Turner-Bey, man, don't eat that, man. Don't take them trays. Don't, you know. And so as a result of this, you know, I stopped eating meat. People like, why? So I stopped eating meat in 1985 and I ain't ate it since.
Okay.
You know, I eat chicken and turkey, but I stopped eating all the meats. And it was a plus. It made my body feel better. I started feeling better, and, you know, and I realized that I had more energy and more. So that was like the start of me taking care of myself, really growing nutritious and consciously.
You said something that made my ears rise. You said advocate, and that's how you define yourself based on the experience that you've had with the criminal legal system and how you wanted to change the narrative for your own situation. What was some of that advocacy work that you were doing?
Oh, I did everything from filing motions for other individuals, because my concept was, if I can't get myself out, I'm going to get somebody else out. And I actually did. You know, I don't want to call people names, but people know that I helped them. I would help anybody in the library. If you say you had an issue, even program statements. I learned the Bureau of Prisons program and policy statements better than the guards and the case managers there. So I could do people points. And I say, man, look, you don't belong here. These points right here, they're giving you these illegal points. They're giving you, they got to take these points off, drop your custody level, and get you out of here.
Right.
And so from that point on, when I saw I got good at this stuff, I told my brother, I said, man, I'm going to make them put me out of jail. He said, man, you going to make them kill you, silly. I said, man, they going to put me out of jail. Watch this. And that was my journey. That's when my quest became. So when they thought they was doing me an injustice and sending me all over the country, you actually was building up my legacy. You was actually giving me a chance to go over here on the West Coast to connect with these brothers over here. There's Crips, Bloods, or whatever they is, the GDs. You sending me over here. I get a chance to build with brothers in the BGF, the brothers Mexican. I'm building with everybody because I'm telling the man that we got more in common than what we got on alike.
Absolutely. We got more in common than what we have disalike. That's a powerful statement. And it's funny that you say that because we need each other. We need each other. And when you think about how your experience can help another brother out, when we hear those type of stories, it's like we want our listeners to know that this is a call to action as far as how we can unite.
Oh, no question. It's now or never. Man, I mean, it's real. That prison, the pipeline is real. From the schools to the prison.
Yes, indeed.
It's then got realer than real. I'm going to give you a secret. For real, that's why a lot of the older guys are being pushed out of prison. Why? Because we want these babies. We want these 14 and 15 years old. Why? Because now I don't have to pay Turner-Bey's medical expenses because he's in his 50s. I don't have to pay for Travis to go get dental work. I get these young kids in here because they only care about bodies. They just need a body. Somebody, anybody. And if you got younger kids in there, I know I got this kid now for 40 years, at least 40 years. That's 2 generations of jobs. When you go to some of these prisons, I used to be at these prisons where the grandfather worked there, the father worked there, the son now coming there.
Yep.
Y'all hear that? They praying on us. They are praying on us, y'all, for mass incarceration.
Man, only thing you gotta do is look at the blueprint on it. Where are all the prisons at? Rural white areas. Yep. Rural areas where nobody is going, in the side of a mountain. You're going up these prison places, and it's more dangerous driving there than it is, the people that's in there you're going to see.
Yep. Right.
And once you get there in these rural places where nobody's coming, if it's not for your prison, what happens? That little gas station now becomes what? A Shell or Exxon. Because so many people are coming there. Yep. So that little Andy Griffith gas station is now Exxon or Shell. Yeah. The little Bates Motel now becomes a Marriott or Hilton. Yep. Because the people traveling so far, they got to get gas, they got to stay overnight.
Right.
The mom and pop store becomes a big grocery store.
The mom and pop store become a CVS or Walmart.
Right.
Automatically. The people now, so what we done did, not only did we ensure jobs for the next 60 years, we done built up their whole entire economy. Yep. And then the linchpin in all of that is what? Is the prisoners there. The most important thing is that 4 o'clock count. That 4 o'clock count is just like a census count.
Come on, man.
Because the prisoners now count on that county's population. Even though they never step foot on that county, they in that county's population because their bodies is housed there at that facility. Although you're going to get on a bus or get on a plane and fly out of there when they get ready to send you where you're going. You've never been, but you count towards that county's population, which what? Gives them voting power in Congress. So it's a win-win for everybody at the table who loves this mass incarceration because it's a cycle, man. They reinvented the wheel. Yeah. We had the reports where judges are getting kickbacks for sending the youth there, giving the juveniles more time. Just look at some of the judges. It came out in Philadelphia where they was getting kickbacks from lobbyists. You get a chance, you want to see 13. It's a show on. It's a series on Netflix called 13th. It's about the 13th Amendment. When can slavery be reenacted? Except under the 13th, you've been convicted of a crime.
Right.
So they reenacting slavery all over again from the 21st century view. This is the millennium form of slavery. We work in Unicores. I was a super grade.
What's Unicore?
Unicore is a factory inside the prison who are doing work for the federal government. We make desks. We making chairs. They think we in there making license plates or some of the old school stuff. Nah, we in there making the helmets that they use in the Iraq war. We made the bulletproof vest. We making the fatigues. The fatigues. The codes used, the harness that they use to make the missiles. Them cable wires.
Lockheed.
We made that they using to launch the missiles. We making the parachute. I worked on the perfect shirt. It's the Marines got what's called the perfect shirt. And I helped them perfect every size of their perfect shirt. I didn't help them design it. So I don't want to get on them, run on here and say, no, he taking credit for it. No, I helped them perfect their size. They didn't have all their sizes right. And so I told their engineers that they brought in all these in there. So we showed them in Unicor, in Turry Hut, Indiana, laid it out on the thing, and told them, scrap all these patterns. Let us make you new patterns. We made them brand new patterns, and that's how we begin to help them perfect their perfect shirt, the Marines' perfect shirt.
Right. And based off of what you said, like this mass incarceration.
But hold up. Let me make this point. Let me just give you the. Know what people was getting paid? 92 cents.
92
cents an hour, and this is the work we doing.
Like you said, this is slavery.
92 cents is what we can get. I was a super grade. I was the most you get. I was a quality control inspector.
Okay.
The most I could get was $1. That's the most you can get. You can't even get more than that.
And get $75 a month just for walking in the door.
Just yeah.
That was about it.
And then I did all this stuff. I was a quality control inspector for over 20 years. They gave me, when they released me from prison in Atwater, they gave me a bus ticket and $50 to go to DC to catch a bus from Atwater, Modesto, California. They had an inmate drive me to the bus station, drop me off, an inmate from the camp, drop me off at the bus station, and gave me a bus ticket, $50 and a bus ticket to come back to DC. I heard they done upped it now and all that, but I already knew that I'm going to get treated differently. I understand that, and I tell dudes all the time. But the thing about it is it never affects my attitude because we got to refuse to lose attitude. Failure is not an option. That's the code that we operate on a daily basis by. When you come and you get involved with us, when I say us, I'm talking about advocates, men of great idea, men of understanding. We run what we call the Mandela Project. How the Mandela Project operates is we going to get you.
What's the Mandela Project?
Mandela is a project that we did. We eventually was going to get funded, but some things happened behind the scenes and some other legal obstacles got in the way. And we couldn't do it on per se through the government. We were going to be adopted. We couldn't get it on record. So we were tired of the red tape anyway, because when men and women are released from prison, what? They need help right then and there. They don't need your help. Go get this voucher and go over here and then go get your ID and go over here, go get your birth certificate. No, they need help right then and there. The day
it's
you
the,
come
it's
out.
the runaround. The barriers to reentry are real.
Yeah, they got them doing the Olympics all over again. You doing the gymnastics in the Olympics. You hurling this, you jumping that, you running here. So, but what they need is we get them, we take them there. No, we're not going to go and tell you go down North Capitol and go to. People don't know where. People been gone 30 years, don't know where to go at to get no birth certificate. People here don't even know where to go at to get the birth certificate.
Right.
So we're going to take you down there. We're going to go down there with you. We're going to sit down there with you. We're going to fill out the paperwork with you. We're going to take you over there on 8th Street. We're going to get your benefits. We're going to fill out the paperwork for you.
So you say we, that's you now.
Me and other individuals who volunteer their time. We volunteer our service. We come in regardless.
That's awesome.
Whether they give us money or not. Some people donate money to us privately. We get private donations and we're going to do it. But we're going to get you a suit because you got to get a suit. You got to look sharp. We're going to get you. We teach you how to do it, wear a tie. We teach you how to tie a tie. We teach you what to wear on the interview.
How do people get connected to the we and what you do? What's the name of it?
The Mandela, you got to just.
Oh, the Mandela Project, right.
Like Travis was telling you, old school way through the grapevine.
Yeah. Okay, got you.
Otherwise, you're going to run into too much red tape.
Yeah.
You can go over Mocha and you talk to somebody over Mocha. Somebody going to put you in contact with Turner-Bey over at Mocha. Somebody over there at the other organizations that can't get it done the way they need to get it done.
Right.
They're going to take and give somebody my number because they already know, give my number.
Yep.
Right.
Because if you call me and you ain't supposed to call me, I'm going to hang up on you. Like, man, what you calling me for, man?
Right.
Yeah. You know, we ain't in that lane. We in this lane. Mm-hmm. So if you in our lane, man, they going to call me up and you going to talk to somebody. Somebody going to say, hey, Turner-Bey, man, I got somebody such and such. Man, they on your plate. Man, they need your help. Man, they need to do this.
Got you.
And if we can help them, we're going to help them. If we can't, we're going to say we can't. But it won't be from a lack of trying.
Right.
We're going to point them and direct them to somebody that can help them. Yeah. But we always help each other because if you're looking for a job, we're going to show you where to get a job. Mm-hmm. Because working in Unicorn show that these men will work. These men and women will work if given the opportunity. We working for $1 an hour.
Right.
So if you're going to give us $17, you know we're going to work.
And sometimes 12 hours a day because, they was giving out the overtime. So men was trying to provide for, family members as well for themselves and their children and things that matter. So it was like, okay, we got overtime today. Who trying to sign up? Everybody trying to sign up to get that, that extra money.
A lot of times you couldn't even work. They had too many people on the list. People are going to work, because, man, it's the way of survival. It's a form of survival. Now that you then have to start working and you educate yourself, oh, man, you done created that atom bomb. Mm-hmm. Because that's the most dangerous thing. A person who's coming out of prison who's now educated Why is this different? That education is self-education, is different from being trained. Mm-hmm. The public schools are designed to train our children what to think.
Right.
Self-education teach you how to think. That's what made Malcolm so powerful.
Okay.
That's when Martin Luther King started having a different vision. Once you become self-taught, it's a whole different page. Then now your thinking is infinite. Now your atoms are going around and you thinking of new ways how to do these things. Because just think, these people, these men, these women that's going to prison are charged with running a continual criminal enterprise, a CCE.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they don't have an 8th grade education. Just think if they get an education. Most people go to school 4 years, 8 years to become CEOs.
Yeah.
Right.
These dudes are CEOs with an 8th grade education. So now you let them get the education. Now, hold up. Wait a minute. We got a problem. Because now they're aggressive. Now they know that they're going to make more money working a job than they're going to make on the street. Mm-hmm. You're going to get everything them dudes getting in the street. You're going to get it from your job and you're going to get it legitimate. And guess what? You ain't got to worry about the stick-up boys. You ain't got to worry about somebody telling on you. You ain't got to worry about the police looking on you. You ain't got to worry about none of those things. Because now, man, I'm going to create jobs. Not only am I going to get a job, now I'm going to start creating jobs. And that's what we did. When we came home, each one of us, when we come home, we get ourselves in a position where what? They say, Turner-Bey, do you got anybody else you can recommend? Because when we go on the job, our concept is we teach people when you go on the job, don't go on the job to interview for a job. Go on the job to take the job.
That's right.
You going to
Pretty much.
You coming to take a job. We ain't going to interview for a job. We're going to find out what the manager doing. We're going to find out how everything is working behind the scenes, who's doing what. Because now that makes you invaluable. Mm-hmm. Your value can't be told. Now you're too valuable to the people that you work for. They're like, when they doing budget cuts and they looking where they can cut money at, oh, no, we can't cut Travis. Oh, no, Foster, we need him.
He can do 4 or 5 things
Yeah,
at one
he's
time.
doing 4 and 5 things already.
Right.
And see, that's how you got to have a concept. That's that refuse to lose. That's that mentality. That's the Mandela mentality.
You know, speaking of that, the refuse to lose, Turner-Bey, because you came in young, you came in innocent, you come into a hostile environment like prison, like we're talking about. And it's a lot of wild things, being said, maybe something like you said, spitting into the food and all that. And you're a strong-minded individual. You are strong, not only a strong-minded, but you a strong man. You know what I'm saying? So back then, how was you able to, they got this new word they use now. Everybody use the word navigate. We wasn't using navigate back then, but how was you able to navigate back then, being young, could have been impressionable, but you came out positive and things that matter. You while you was in it, you was positive. But how did you navigate against all the negativity that's coming against you?
The thing about it is you gotta be positive. Don't get me wrong. It didn't happen overnight.
Right.
I thought about it. I was mad as hell. Don't get it twisted. I was mad. I was messed up. I was a dangerous, ugly kind of type thinking dude. But I read a book, Coffee Boy.
Coffee Boy, okay.
Talks about the atrocities that's going on in South Africa during apartheid. You think your situation is bad. You think nobody understands. You think how unfair life is and all that. When I read this book and realized as bad as I thought my situation was, it was not the worst in the world. And you begin to start reading. I stayed in solitary confinement, so I couldn't do nothing but read. And the more I read, the more I found out I love reading. And so I began to think, man, you know what, Turner-Bey? You could be a lawyer. You could be an astronaut. The only reason why we don't become these things is because we don't have the curriculum. If you can remember Jay-Z's song, if you can remember Tupac recordings, and Tupac been dead for almost 30 years now, you can remember all these things. You can remember you have the ability and the capabilities to learn anything.
Right.
If the curriculum is given to you. So when you use that mindset, you begin to think in a different order. Your mind starts taking off. We started a thing called debate classes. We used to have debate classes where you could debate anything. And what it did was sharpen our minds. It sharpened your argument. If you brought a weak argument, we're going to destroy it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you brought an argument and it has some validity to it, you're going to either leave there thinking in a different perspective, and then you're going to learn how to think. And the thing about it that was so great, we had people from different cultures. We had young and old. We eventually started an organization in Lewisburg that got a lot of us in trouble called YDC, Youth Development Committee. Mm-hmm. It was called YDC. And it was started because all these young dudes was coming in there under 20, under 25, under 30 with so much time. So the only way you could be a part of the organization is you had to be under 30. Because so many older dudes, when you was talking about how did we navigate, we came out with our own concept. Man, who gonna do for the youth if we don't do for the young dudes? Because all the old dudes had control of everything. They did everything. What they said, go, oh, don't sit in that chair. Such and such been sitting there, man, for 25 years. Man, such and such been sitting there. I say, well, he ain't here now. They talking about, man, he killed the last dude that was in his chair, man.
Wow.
You know, he been here 10 years, man. Don't nobody sit in that. And so I'm wrestling in my mind like, how crazy is this? Man, we going to do something for ourselves. And that's what we started. We began to maneuver and we began to, as they call, navigate. We began to say, man, we're going to do for the youth. And before you know it, we doing our own thing. We figured out a way how we going to generate money. Everybody wanted our ideas, the NAACP, JCs, the Toastmasters. We went up under all these different organizations because everybody loved our ideas and they wanted credit for it. We didn't care about credit. We wanted to get the work done. That was our mindset. We needed to see results because we didn't want young dudes tricked out of their life. These dudes, 19, they got 70 years only because somebody said they sold them some crack or somebody was with somebody that sold something or somebody said so. It's called the nominee law that they created. And that was the war on drugs created a nominee law where if somebody say you and Travis, Foster and Travis together and I ain't seen a gun on Foster, Travis got that gun charge. Wow. And they can enhance his sentence. And we start saying, man, this is ludicrous. So we start calling Congress out on it. So the only way to be a part of YDC, you had to write your Congress member and tell them the injustice of the laws that took place in your case and all this. And so we wrote every member of Congress who was part of the Judicial Misconduct Committee, who was part of anything related to the laws and constitutions of the government, policy making. And you had to write them. Don't worry, we got a stamp for you. We got somebody going to type it up for you. We paying people to type it. Yep. And the way we learn how to generate money and finance for these organizations was we started selling ice creams on a rec yard in Lewisburg. We the first group that did this. Nobody came up with it. And then everybody got mad because we started growing. And we didn't need nobody's finance. We didn't need nobody. We just started selling all ice creams on Saturdays and Sundays on the rec yard. People never figured out to this day how they get ice creams on, sir. How they keeping them cold? What they doing? And the administration didn't even know how we was doing it. You know, and so we was able to pull that off, and we was able to do things behind the scenes and without people paying attention to us because there wasn't nobody paying attention to the young dudes then. Yeah. And when they looked up, we began to run our own stuff, and so we had a thing we say we need to get an advisory committee. So we took older dudes, Dr. Matula Shakur, my man Tim Blunt. We took some of the dudes, political prisoners, and older guys who had been in the system a long time, and we got them to be on our advisory committee to help advise us on some of the things so that we could make sure we was moving in the right direction, that we had an end goal to all this. Man, Matula let Tupac hear about what we was doing. He sent us his videos. We got his videos before everybody else got it. Because at this time, Lewisburg didn't have BET. It didn't have MTV. It didn't have none of the cable stuff. All that day was taken out. Lewisburg was like your last prison to get microwaves, wash machines. We didn't have none of this stuff in the 90s.
Old prehistoric, John.
Yeah, old prehistoric. Outdated, the thinking was outdated, everything. So we came in with a new mindset and a group of young men decided that, man, we just going to do this from all walks of life, from D.C., from New York, from Baltimore, from California. We had dudes from, man, and everybody got at the table, and we just made it happen, and it became, it came into fruition.
Yeah, this is, I mean, extraordinary. Everything that you just shared, I'm taken back a little bit. But it's important because when we think about the next generation, when we think about the youth, when we think about young people, we don't have enough people on the outside doing as much work as you have done, Mr. Turner-Bey. And I want to applaud you for that, because it starts with an idea to say enough is enough. You're not going to fulfill this goal of the school to prison pipeline. You're not going to just mass incarcerate Black and brown people to the infinite amount of, of this earth. We're going to stick up and do something about this.
And that's what it takes. That's all it takes, is just somebody to be bold enough to say, man, nah. My question is this. I ask people all the time this. You got to ask some of them old Jim Crow, I don't even want to, them
Black codes and stuff.
Them Clarence Thomases. That's what I'm going to call them.
Right.
Because calling them my Uncle Tom is a myth.
Right.
Uncle Tom was a leader and a soldier, and I'm telling you, they got that story wrong. So I can't call him Uncle Tom. But these Clarence Thomases out there, you got to call them out on this thing, because they say if they talking about they can identify which students are going to prison at the third grade and all that, why you can't identify which students are going to college?
Come on now.
Why you don't want to identify which students can be entrepreneurs? Which student can build the next Fortune 500?
Right.
Why are we severance out and say, oh, this kid right here, I see now, he's going to be in Lewisburg. I can see him now headed to ADX, and they in the 7th grade, they in these grades. Why we don't identify the people who are going to be successful?
Mm-hmm. When we was in, remember they used to have this track. It was rolled on it looked like a brown paper towel. It was in paper form, but like a brown paper towel. And one of the things it said was talking about how God was using the prisons to form a generation of giants to come out and reshape what was going on out here in society. So Turner-Bey he just said he had to be positive in a culture, an environment that's nothing but negativity going on. It's a cesspool.
Absolutely.
So,
the last shall be first, and the first shall be last.
Here he is. Even though he didn't want to go, who wants to go through prison? How about you to go to prison? And it wasn't that, but what you did, you used a ill situation and made it healthy for yourself, and then you also caused that healing and that health, to go into the other youngsters, and not just youngsters, but there's older men too. Cause I didn't see any of that work with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very impressionable.
But you gotta live it.
Gotta live it. Exactly.
You can't talk it. You gotta live it.
Yeah.
And them dudes know I lived it. Everything I'm telling y'all now, I lived it.
Yeah.
And I believed it with every part of my core. And this is what I was willing to sacrifice for. I was willing to sacrifice for all these things that I believed in, because I saw the setup. I saw the big picture, the overlay for the underlay. Mm-hmm. We being bamboozled, led astray. When I saw that, I'm like, oh, man, this thing is real, man. This thing is a cold-blooded setup. But you have to, I'm glad, I know I'm not glad I went to prison, but I'm not bitter about it. People always, man, why you not bitter? Why you not upset? And then people ain't paid you no money. They ain't paid me. They ain't give me no compensation. We actually lost our argument in the Supreme Court due to what's really a technicality that our lawyers didn't bring up a argument a certain way. So we lost our evidence, even though actual evidence showed, and forensic evidence showed that we were innocent of the crime that we went to jail for. But I didn't get no compensation. But the reason I'm not bitter is because we don't know what it saved me from.
Right.
What it saved you from, right?
What it saved me from. Mm-hmm. Because now, don't get it twisted. While I was gone, a lot of stuff cut up. I mean, D.C. became the murder capital. As soon as I went in the door, boom. Drugs and everything came in and took over D.C. And it didn't discriminate. It got lawyers, it got doctors, it got politicians, it got advocates like myself, it got everybody. It didn't discriminate. It got some of my homies, it got some of, my homegirls, it got a little bit of everybody. Nobody was exempt. No matter how much education you had or how little education you had.
Took you under.
You know, and so I look back now on those years and I'm so thankful for all the things that I was able to do because I went to prison, but I was able to do everything I wanted to do. Everything I wanted to accomplish. I went to college. I was able to go to, and we was getting the best education.
You went back in when they were still having the resources and the money funded, for the educations and, the degrees and things.
They still got the money. Don't let them tell you nothing different. They had to stop funding the education in the prison system because why? We was winning with that. We showed that a person with a degree is 70 times less likely to come back to prison than a person without.
Come on now.
So education is the formula that you use. But if your money is tied up in mass incarceration, you need them to come back. Mm-hmm. God told me that, man. Turner-Bey, I had your cell ready for you when you get back. I told him, give it to your mother.
Flat out.
Yes, give it to your mother. I ain't never coming back.
Right.
Yeah. That was my mindset. Dude say, man, you wasn't supposed to tell him that, Slim. What happened? What if something happened and you come back? I say, I ain't coming back.
But that's the important caveat to what we're talking about today. The fact that the system is preying on our people and the fact that we can't just be bystanders. You know what I mean? We got to actively engage and participate in this.
Let me tell you this. It's bigger than the system preying on our system. They done got so high tech with it that they make us prey on each other to do the work for the system.
Got you.
They make us do the work for it. Yeah. These dudes don't know. You go over here in these different neighborhoods, this neighborhood beefing with that neighborhood. This dude's uptown beefing with dudes across the. Man, are y'all stupid? Do you not know that this is who you're gonna be in the cell with when you get to Atwater? This is who going to have to watch your back when you get up there in Lewisburg and you going up against all these other different facets because they all sticking together. And all that, oh man, I ain't with that. I ain't gonna. No, you with it. That dude that you shooting at, that dude that you stabbing up, that dude you arguing with in the club, that dude you fighting with about nothing, is the dude who's gonna have to watch your back when you get out there in California, when you down there in the dirty side, when you down there in Texas, when you down there in Beaumont, Texas. That dude there is who you gonna call on and gonna have to need to save your life. And so they don't even get it. They don't have nowhere to know it. And the homeboys that they talking to are selling them myths and lies. They over there knowing that most of them probably over there petrified in them places. Because any given day, you can lose your life in the maximum security prisons. Any given day, I swear to God to you, everybody in there, no matter how tough you is, no matter how good you fight, no matter how strong you think you is, reality is you can lose your life tomorrow morning without even knowing why. Because that's just it. You could be laying in bed, and because you're from this region, because you're from that region, you're going to be attacked if something goes on between two different facets.
No question.
And so they don't even get it. But when I was in there, man, we kept the peace because we knew we got more in common than we got unlike.
Right.
Even if you from a different order, even if you Mexican mafia, even if you dirty white boys, if you this, if you that, regardless of what you claim and say, we got more in common than what we got unlike. And they don't want you to ever wake up and realize that because why? Y'all gonna end up running in prisons. Y'all gonna say what you want in the commissary. See, that's what the problem. That's why I got diesel therapy. That's one of the reasons why I got. I tell the dudes all the time, man, y'all want to transfer dudes on the East Coast, and you want to get back on the East Coast while we out in California. Hang out. They say, man, hang out with Turner-Bey. He gonna get you transferred. You gonna get transferred messing with him because man, we gonna be fouling on. We gonna want to know how you spending that money that you making from the canteen. You know, they got to tell you that. They policy, so they got to show you in writing how that money was being spent back on the prisoners. The money that they make, this got to be used on this. And they'll show it to you. But when you start asking about it, get ready. Pack your bags. You better travel light too. Because half of your property going to be missing. And then you just got to realize that that's the loss. That come with the territory that you sign up for once you start that.
Yep.
But you got to be real with it. And when you get there, continue on. Hey, what's going on here, man? How we doing this, man? Hey, y'all, let's do this, man. We made them we the first place that made them put night visits over there in Allenwood. We was getting night visits. Visitation. Your family could come see you at night.
Oh, okay.
On a weekday.
Oh, okay.
You know, they wasn't doing that in the prison. They couldn't do that in Lewisburg. They wasn't coming in at night. Y'all crazy. But we kept arguing that, hey, man, they made the mistake of putting me there with a good group of men, and we got it done. We like, okay, well, all right, go on. Y'all do this then. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and lay down, and we're going to sit in our cell and watch TV or listen to our radios, and y'all go ahead and y'all run the institution and see what they do. They don't want that. See, this is the stuff that got me in trouble now.
I see what you're saying.
But I don't care. I was born in trouble because you're black and in America, you're born in trouble. So
that part,
I take it with it. But really, in serious talk, when you start thinking on the conscious rims and you ask those questions that nobody is asking, man, you better look out. You're a threat then.
Hey, Turner-Bey, didn't you write a book?
Several books was written about me. I wrote a thesis on black crime, why it's no such thing.
Oh, okay.
I wrote a thesis, and I haven't converted it into a book yet. But
black on black crime, and there's no such thing.
It's called Black on Black Crime, Why There's No Such Thing.
Why there's no such thing. Elaborate.
I use 2 Oreo cookies, and I said it's always something white in the middle. White is not a person, but an ideology that makes them go. That's the Willie Lynch syndrome, that go against each other. Light versus dark versus light. You know, and all for real, ain't nothing but people. We create the differences that make us think that we are something different, that God created something other than the other, you know. Tree don't beef with a tree. An oak tree and a red oak don't beef with each other. You know, you people. You know your trees.
Right.
You know, the flower don't, they don't attack flowers, but we think we different when we are not different.
So much alike.
We're so much alike. It's just culture, so many facets going on out there. But if you keep people divided, you can control them better.
That's why they did that in the feds.
Yeah, that's why they do it in the feds. They make you pick a label. Oh, who you with? Man, I'm with myself. That's who I'm with. Nah, you with somebody. Who you with? You gonna claim one thing.
What state you come from? That's who you with.
Or they ain't gonna let you out. You gonna claim who you with. And then a lot of time they just try to make you do the things, and all that's designed to divide you so that you don't never focus. Guess what? This guy right here, Travis, you don't like him because he from the Midwest, but he might got a case issue that you need to help with your legal to get you home. Mm-hmm. I went through that when I was in California. Like, Turner-Bey, man, I don't talk to them people, man. What you want my homies to think, man? You gave me that dude. I say, man, look, your case had to get in the mail by noon today. We had to get it in the mail today. And we had to mail it at lunchtime, man, to get it in the mail today so it'd be postmarked. If your homies got a problem with that dude coming bringing you the mail to get you out, guess what? Tell your homies I say they ain't your homies. They your enemies.
That part.
And so once you start, it start breaking barriers, man.
Yeah.
That's the first thing you got to do, break barriers and let men recognize men.
You're absolutely right. We have more in common than we have unalike. And those are some of the things that help us as men get to the next day. When we got things going on in our own minds that we can't control, or experiences like this that you've been behind bars, and you really genuinely want to connect with people. That's a part of the social construct that we live in. We want to connect and get to know each other, but we've been programmed by society to fight each other and to tear each other apart.
And when you get your degree in YouTubeology and TikTok,
right?
You get a PhD in TikTok. What can I tell you? It's nothing you can tell me now. TikTok done gave me my PhD now, so it ain't nothing. So it's really hard to really try to communicate to people, man, along the lines. And You know, that's where we run into the obstacles trying to talk to our youth, trying to talk and get them to understand, man, what's real. But that's what happens. So much negativity and so much misinformation is put in our brains and put in our system on a daily basis that we never get on track and see the big picture.
Watch this. Foster, watch this. Turner-Bey was one time, I think it was like 03. We was out there on the basketball court, and it was a 5'9" and under tournament.
Yeah.
And there was a little youngin', I ain't gonna say his name, but he was in on a life sentence on conspiracy. He talked to somebody who was selling drugs, but he himself never sold drugs. Little dude. But he was angry about it. But he would play, he would play football. He would play basketball. So he was on a 5'9" and under tournament. And the younger was angry, and to the point to where he's about to get into it with one of the homies from D.C. He was from somewhere else. But he was so angry, and it was about to go up. When we said about to go up, man, the two cars about to crash. And Turner-Bey came out there. He said, ho, time out. Well, had the SEALs and everybody just stayed back. And Turner-Bey talked to this young and say, now, that anger you got, put it on the court. You got skills. You got talent. Channel it. Man, Shorty went out there. He started started cooking.
Right.
But Turner-Bey stood out there. He said, "Hold, time out," and he stopped a war from happening between two geographical locations.
Right, just like Moses parted the Red Sea. That's Turner-Bey.
Well, I don't know about parting the Red Sea, but I know he stopped a war because
right.
In an institution like Leavenworth, which is a penitentiary. Man, sometimes if the car is too small, or if they knew like us, DC, we were strong. And you knew you pretty much had to bring the kitchen, the living room, the basement, the attic, and everything to deal with us. Yeah. So and we was hated so much that they would have other men partner up with a Kansas or Iowa because there was only a few. They would partner up with them just to come at us. But Turner-Bey say, ho.
Yeah, the whole Midwest parted together. The whole Midwest, entire Midwest parted, seized up together, took a pact to go against D.C. But dudes don't understand that at the end of the day, a lot of good men gonna get hurt in these little wars about nothing. It be about nothing. Man, I got caught up in a couple of things because they say I could have stopped them. The administration blame me. I'm like, man, it ain't my job to stop them.
No.
And what I try to do is I try to intervene before the bloodshed, because once people start touching each other, you can't get in it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's on. But you try to intervene like, man, look, is this what really, can this be resolved? So sometimes you got to step up. Sometimes a lot of good men we had a lot of beefs about petty little nothing things. And then you got to step up and then become the bigger person. Here, man, he don't owe you nothing now. Here go what you say he owed you. Here, take this. Now you even. Now you don't have no beef. Now you ain't got no reason. So if you do something now, what? You just a crash dummy. You just an idiot. You just somebody that we need to all get out of the way. Because now he don't owe you. He owe me. Because we done took care of you. And so little things like that went a long way with a lot of good men, because a lot of people, we don't need the institution locked down. Because if it's locked down, guess what? You can't get nothing done. You can't go to the law library. Yeah. You can't go on your visits. You can't go use the phone. You can't do this.
Visitation with your family.
Can't go to work. Can't go to work.
They're going to shut down a lot of the basketball game tournaments. You're going to shut down the football. You're going to shut down so much stuff just out of some foolishness at the moment type stuff. So I'm just glad that I had a chance to be a part of it. I came in when I came in, and I didn't become I didn't fall victim to the way that the system did me, because I was supposed to be mad. I was supposed to be bitter. I was supposed to be one of them high heads, because I was 19 and you threw me into Kentucky where I ain't seen nothing, and I'm in Kentucky, Ashland, and you can see the Ku Klux Klans marching. You can see them up on the hill, burnt right there from the institution.
Wow.
And they telling you, man, we leave that back gate open, man, because we know, man, you safe on this side, Turner-Bey than on that side.
Right.
Say the last guys that broke out of here, man, they came back around the front door banging to get in the door. And that's the reality of what my situation was. So I knew that I had to do something different. And that book, Comfort Boy, changed my life, I'm telling you. It made a transformation inside my heart. That you gotta see the world from a different view. You know, I call it the shoebox understanding, because everybody think nobody else see they view but them. But if you in a shoebox, all you can see is your view.
Right.
You don't never get to see around you.
Yeah, no exposure.
No exposure. And so, man, what we got to do is, man, we got to get the video games out of the kids' hands, man, and get something in their mind. All day long, we give them, even my niece, she give my nephew a video game. He played his Grand Theft Auto all day, every day, bank robbing, stealing, carjacking, and everything. And then they wonder why the carjacking is going through the roof.
Right.
You let them play with these toys, these video games all day, and in reality, with their young minds, they can't separate fiction from reality, virtual reality. Ain't no start over once you done went out here on U Street and you done put a gun in somebody's face.
Oh, man.
Ain't no button to start over again. You done got killed. You don't get to start the game over. And that's what we got to make sure that our youth understand, man.
What a message. What a message.
Turner-Bey, we got to get out of here, man. But
yeah, sorry I took up so much.
No,
of
you
your
ain't
time,
take up no
brother.
time. You ain't take up no time. You took the time to come in here.
I'm always honored. I'm just honored, man. And you just somebody I hold in reverence, high reverence, man, because you always exemplified that character, man, and you were on your P's and Q's, man, and you was not a high head. You could play ball. You could play good. You were real good. Basketball and baseball and football, and that's the thing that I wish that people could understand about the men that's in prison. A lot of these men, that's why we need the reentry doors open for these people coming out. Let me just say this.
Come on.
The time that these men spend in prison working in Unicor, these women working in Unicor, building these factories, that time should count toward their Social Security because they're working for the federal government.
Absolutely.
It should be, or they should be offered a stipend to get affordable housing. If you was in prison for 13 years or 15 years, 20 years, and you work Unicor for over 10, you should be given a housing stipend to come back into your community. Because then what? Now you don't have to go back out there on the block. Because ain't nobody got no bag of money waiting for you. This ain't like it used to be. Ain't nobody got no bag of money waiting on you when you
Definitely
come home.
don't. No.
All that old different illusions that your homie telling you, oh, we getting it and getting it. They ain't really getting nothing. These dudes ain't really getting nothing because there ain't nothing out there to get. Get a job and you're going to get everything you want. That's our message. And we're going to show you how to get a job. And we're going to show you that a person with a job going to make more than the person on the corner.
Pretty much.
Without a job.
Right.
And have everything he want.
Christopher Turner-Bey, before we leave, and you didn't drop a whole lot of jewels. I mean, this is a mind with nothing but jewels. You ain't got to dig from them. Just pick them up after listening to this. But we always have our guests come on, and when they leave, man, give us something to grow on and lead with and apply with in life.
Man, just keep believing in yourself. When everybody counts you out, don't count yourself out. Believe in yourself. When nobody else, you don't need nobody. Don't feel sorry for yourself. Just believe in yourself and don't count yourself out.
This is the NRC Black Table Talk Podcast, y'all, with Christopher Turner-Bey, my main man.
That's right.
As we always say, we going to sign out, but we never signing off because there's always work to be done. Boots to the ground. Y'all do good.